Hey guys, and welcome back to the Point Predictor, the series where I predict 5 players that I think will score points in the upcoming FPL game week. I can only choose one player per club, and I must follow the category shown on screen. Before looking at my predictions for Game Week 3, a very quick word about OneFootball who have kindly sponsored this video. The world's best football news app has now been made even better, relaunching with a fresh new design. Gain access to news, scores and stats from leagues all over the world, with a brand new interface that's cleaner, simpler and smarter than ever. As for FPL, you can follow each team in the Premier League and then get live updates from all the goals and assists every game week. Download it for free using the link in the description box below. There were a few solid predictions for Game Week 2, with 3 of my 5 choices returning points. It was a disappointing week for Martial and United, but some of my choices really came through, especially Castagna and Calvert-Lewin, who brought home 26 points between them. The Everton forward banged in a hat-trick at home to West Brom, and Leicester's new right-back looked very impressive against Burnley, constantly bombing down his flank once again and bagging 2 assists in the process. So let's see if I can keep up this point predictor form, and move on now to my choices for Game Week 3. My defensive pick for Game Week 3 goes to Matt Doherty. On paper, a home game against Newcastle is always a fixture I like from a defensive point of view. However, from what we've seen so far, it's very difficult to know what Newcastle is going to turn up. In just 2 games, we've already seen 2 very different sides to Newcastle, with a confident win away to West Ham in the opening game week, before then a lacklustre 3-0 defeat at home to Brighton last time out. After that defeat, they've then gone on to win 7-0 in the League Cup in midweek, so a really random string of performances so far. With the way Spurs have defended in the opening 2 game weeks, I can't say I trust them much for a clean sheet here. But what I do trust is Matt Doherty's attacking exploits, and I do think he's been fairly unlucky to not register an attacking return yet. He was denied a goal from close range in Game Week 1 thanks to a very solid save from Pickford, and in Game Week 2 he also had an assist for Harry Kane narrowly ruled out for offside. My budget midfield pick for Game Week 3, below the price of 8 million, goes to Daniel Pedence at Wolves. Although the point predictor is made with just one single game week in mind, it is worth noting that even if Pedence does blank this game week, then him and Wolves still boast an excellent run of fixtures, and therefore should provide us with good long-term options. Wolves face West Ham in Game Week 3, a side that have lost both of their Premier League games so far. A very interesting stat that I picked up in the research for this episode is that since Wolves returned to the Premier League 2 years ago, they've played West Ham 4 times and won every single game. If you've got a Wolves defender for this game week, then you may be in luck there as well, because in those 4 meetings, West Ham have still yet to score against Wolves, losing 1-0, 3-0, 2-0 and 2-0. 8 goals for Wolves without a response from the Hammers. Pedence in particular has looked very impressive in the opening 2 game weeks, notching an assist in both games so far, and looks to be a very good value pick at just 5.6 million. The any price midfielder this week goes to Kevin De Bruyne. With Man City's blank game week out of the way, and also what looked to be a tricky fixture away to Wolves, the Belgian kind of picks himself for Game Week 3. It was business as usual for Man City last weekend, opening their Premier League campaign with a very solid win at Molineux. De Bruyne in particular looked very sharp in that game, and it was no surprise to see him rack up the most chances created of any player in Game Week 2 with 6. As well as creating chances, he also produced 4 shots on target, the joint highest of the weekend. Promising stats all round for the Belgian, with goal threat and assist potential. If he carries on playing in this advanced number 10 role, then De Bruyne should continue to be absolute gold in FPL this season, and having that confirmation now that he remains on penalties for this campaign only furthers his fantasy prowess. My budget forward pick for Game Week 3 is a bit unorthodox, and it goes to Ollie Watkins of Aston Villa. This one is simply a choice to target a weak defence, with Aston Villa facing Fulham in Game Week 3. In terms of being a legitimate FPL option, I don't think we've seen enough from Villa or Watkins yet to consider him for our squads longer term, but as a 1-week punt on the point predictor, I think he's a decent shout this week. The striker was voted Championship Player of the Season last year, following a superb campaign for Brentford netting 26 goals. Opponents Fulham have conceded 7 goals in the opening 2 games, the second most so far, as well as conceding 13 shots on target, also the second most. Although Watkins hasn't scored in the Premier League yet, he has scored in both of Villa's last 2 League Cup games, most recently coming off the bench in midweek and scoring against Bristol. So he comes into this fixture with a bit of form, and with Grealish behind him pulling the strings, I fancy Watkins to get some chances against this leaky Fulham defence. My any priced forward for Game Week 3 goes to Timo Werner. With Chelsea facing West Brom in Game Week 3, it almost seemed criminal not to select one of their players, and if Werner is going to open his account for the Blues, then this game looks to be an ideal chance to do so. His upcoming opponents West Brom have conceded 8 goals in the opening 2 game weeks, shipping 3 at home to Leicester and 5 away to Everton. The underlying stats also show they've really struggled defensively so far, conceding the most shots inside the box on 24, the most shots on target with 14, and also the most big chances with 8. Considering they've only played 180 minutes of football, that is a lot of shots and chances to be giving away. So even though Werner is yet to score for Chelsea, I do feel he's a logical choice in Game Week 3, and in all honesty, I'll feel pretty unlucky if he doesn't return points. So that's my 5 point predictor picks for Game Week 3. If you enjoyed the episode, then please be sure to leave a like and most importantly get subscribed to FPL TV. You can also hit the notification bell so you always know when a new video goes live. Good luck to all of you watching for Game Week 3, FPL responsibly, and I'll catch you all next week.